Good morning. My name is Esther Callan. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Chicago. Welcome to the League of Women Voters Zooming with the Alderman, a series of interviews with the Alderman of the City of Chicago. We are here to present the different ideas, the different successes, and have the Alderman talk about them. Today's Alderman is Alderman Gardiner of the 45th Ward, and I want to welcome you today. The League of Women Voters was founded 101 years ago, right here in the city of Chicago. The League is a nonpartisan but political organization. We do not endorse political parties. We do not endorse political candidates. We just interview the people and give the information to you. We encourage the informed electorate. We would like you to know what is going on in the various bodies of government. We would like you to participate. We work to increase understanding between the citizens and the people who govern them, the people who make policy decisions. We influence public policy through the informed electorate and advocate for the electorate. The Chicago League is one of hundreds of leagues in the US, all across the country, West Coast to East Coast, regional, as well as in urban centers. These interviews with the Alderman are part of our efforts to educate the public about the issues and the people who represent them in various governmental bodies. Today, our guest is James Gardiner of the 45th Ward. Welcome, Alderman. We appreciate your taking to be with us. Yes, thank you. I would like you all to know that this is being recorded. In a certain amount of time, certain number of days, you will receive the link so that you can view it too. The people who are league members will be able to get this on the league website. Others will get a special link later on. Please also know that the questions that the Alderman is going to answer have been given to him previously. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at the city map. And the cursor will show the 45th Ward. Okay. Then we will zoom into the 45th Ward itself. You can see how the highway runs through there. Any comments, Alderman, about just the shape of the ward or the location of your ward?
Sure. So for those who aren't familiar exactly with the 45th Ward, it encompasses quite a few neighborhoods. One of them is Independence Park, another is Old Irving Park, another is Portage Park, Jefferson Park. Then we also have Big Oaks and Union Ridge, which is on the border of Chicago and Norridge. And then there's also Gladstone Park.
Okay. What are its main boundaries? Your ward's main boundaries?
So the main boundaries, if we were to talk streets, hundreds, it would be, we go as far east as Central Park, which is 3600 west. As far south as Addison, which is 3600 north. As far north as Peterson, which is 6000 north. And as far west as Rutherford, which is approximately 6 blocks west of Nagel, Narragansett.
Mm-hmm. And what is the makeup of the ward? Is it mainly residential, commercial, industrial?
It's mostly residential. We have 54,000 residents. There are some that are commercial, some parts of it. The ethnicity breakdown is about 62% Caucasian, 24% Latino, 8% Asian, and less than 3% African American.
Okay. Anything else you would like to say about the makeup of your ward?
Our ward is made up of a diverse body in that, throughout the different neighborhoods, you have varying political ideologies. You have people from different walks of life, different work backgrounds, different, I'd say, sociology beliefs, but all in all, I think it is a good representation of the northwest side of Chicago, and I am proud to be able to represent. I was born and raised in this ward. I served this city in a multitude of areas. I started as a park district employee and worked my way through college and became a special education teacher on the south side of Chicago. I then got a job with the Chicago Fire Department. I was a Chicago fireman for 14 years. And then that's when I ran for alderman in 2019. So I'm proud to be able to represent our community because I think my background represent a lot of the people who live in this ward.
Mm-hmm. Why did you decide to run for alderman and the first time in 2019, and then now you're planning to be a candidate again?
Sure. As I said earlier, one of the reasons I don't think that I would be comfortable running for alderman if it wasn't for the fact that I was born and raised in this ward. The far majority of my adulthood has been spent serving the people of this city. And I feel most comfortable knowing that I have an opportunity to have an impact on the community that I live in, that helped raise me and that helped shape my values. With that being said, I think that I have a well-rounded background in the different professions that I worked and in the people that I worked with. Not only in this ward, but throughout this city. Like I said, I was a teacher on the south side of Chicago, but I also lived on the south side of Chicago. I lived in Beverly. I attended St. Xavier University at 103rd and Pulaski. I lived in Hyde Park. I lived in Pilsen. But after all that is said and done, I moved back actually to the very same block I grew up on, bought a house. I'm married to a woman who's from Beverly. We have two beautiful children, and we are very happy here on the northwest side. So I'm happy to be a part of a positive movement, and happy to be able to help neighbors who helped raise me.
Thank you. That's very interesting. The fact that you have lived in widely disparate parts of the city.
Yes.
What are some of the key issues facing the people in your ward?
Well, I think some of the key issues facing the people in my ward are no different than any of the key issues facing the people of the city of Chicago. I think public safety has taken the #1 concern for a lot of people, and rightfully so. I think we've seen crime over the last several years that we have not been accustomed to in our ward and throughout our city. I think the level of violence that has plagued our city is very concerning, and I think it's something that all leaders need to put their best foot forward and try to address this sooner rather than later. I think in 2020, I think there was just over 800 murders in the city of Chicago, which has not been seen since the 1990s. Unfortunately, some of those more than what we would like to see murders occurred in the 45th ward, where we were usually not prone to that type of violence, but now we're starting to see some of that creep into our neighborhoods, and it draws some concern, and I can understand that concern.
Yes. Mm-hmm. In City Council, you're a member of several committees. Would you pick one of these and tell us about it? What matters come up before this particular committee?
Sure. So one of the committees that I'm a part of is public safety. Again, I think that's going to be a subject that a lot of aldermen are going to continue to beat. Is that public safety has become priority number one. So I would say that committee is of the utmost importance. And different matters that come up are regarding things that ensure the safety of the residents of our city. Whether it be appointing a new superintendent or passing legislation that is going to hopefully safeguard residents and maybe hopefully have more strict regulations on the guns that continue to traffic into Chicago. But there is an array of subjects that come up. The bottom line is ensuring the safety of our residents.
Mm-hmm. Could you mention a couple of other committees that you're on?
Sure, I'm on licensing as well. I am on the committee of rules. In those that we can help, we can help businesses get the necessary licenses that they need in order to help them succeed. Obviously, the last couple of years since the pandemic, we've seen an array of challenges meet our small businesses and small business owners, and helping them to navigate sometimes the red tape of the city is very beneficial for them. And my staff and I continue to do everything we can to help ensure that they get the services that they need.
Okay. Are there any ideas circulating or what you have yourself that have to do with changes in the way city council operates?
There's nothing presently to see the operation. There's nothing present right now as far as the operation of the council that I can think of. One thing that I think I would like to see is just when we go down for council meetings, I think it would benefit communities to have shorter meetings. I think if aldermen were allowed to spend more time in their communities, more times in their ward offices, as opposed to 3, 4, sometimes 5-hour meetings downtown, I think we could better utilize the time spent, and that could be spent servicing the residents of our ward.
Okay. Well, you mentioned safety and gun violence, so we could talk a little more about that. What are some of the actions by the city of Chicago that have been successful in the attempt to reduce gun violence, or maybe what you would like to see to help reduce gun violence? Well,
what actions have been effective? I think that the jury's still out on that. I think that we continue to do more work. Obviously, from what we've seen on, in the media and reports, that we're not being effective enough. And that's the bottom line. I think we still have to secure the city of Chicago as a whole. I think we have to do a better job of enforcing the law and keeping violent criminals. They have to be responsible for their actions. I think having a state's attorney that's willing and able to press those charges and hold people accountable for their actions, I think is a very important step as well. So I think it's a multifaceted issue that I think needs to continue to be addressed, and steps need to be made in order to combat some of this violent crime that is running rampant in our city.
Okay. On the functioning of the city council, this is in relation to Rule 41 that allows the mayor and the city departments to present a bill without giving it a number or mentioning any content. it has been observed that when the city council regularly passes agenda items for which actual content and text is being approved but not available to the public to see till days after the meeting, is based on Rule 41 that allows the mayor and city department to present the text, but without a number assigned to it, without a title. Would you support requiring that any such direct introduction of items and their text be made available, let's say 2 days prior to the meeting, in order that the alderman would have a better idea of what is the content of this bill?
Yes, I would support that.
Excuse me. Okay. You, that they should get the information and 2 days ahead of time. Okay. On the subject of elections, when you have a mayoral or aldermanic elections, the winner has to have 50% plus one vote extra in the election. The top 2 vote getters are on the ballot for a rerun. What is your view about using ranked choice voting instead of having 2 elections, but having only one and using ranked choice voting?
I think the idea is great. I think that the amount of money that is necessary to win to attain public office is astronomical. I think it is for the average person to be able to try to raise, say, $250,000, which oftentimes is the case for an alderman's office, to run a primary and then a runoff. I think it's unnecessary. I think it unfairly intimidates people, everyday working class people, to run for office, seeing the cost, because it is very difficult to raise that type of money. I think I think that it has gotten to levels where only certain people are allowed to run for office, and I don't. I think that diminishes the chances of working class people like myself, who grew up I'm a first generation American. Both of my parents are immigrants. I'm one of 7 children. When I heard those stats, I was very intimidated, and I thought twice, if not 3 times, whether or not I wanted to enter this field. Fortunately, due to the amount of work that we put in on the ground, knocking on doors, talking to people, we greatly we ran an election that cost far less than what we were told it would cost. Also, due to our very hard work, we didn't have to go to a runoff, which is unheard of oftentimes for a challenger in a field more than 2 people. There was 4 people, but in that very first round as a challenger, I was able to get 51% of the vote. And thankfully so, because if we did go to the runoff, we may have had come across the challenge of raising money that we would not have been able to raise. So I'm open to anything that could help working class people run for public office. I would have to learn more about this system and the pluses and the minuses of it, but I am open to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know San Francisco has done it, and recently New York City did it, but they had a lot of problems. So I'm sure that it needs a lot of adjusting. If you had an initiative and you wanted support from the League of Women Voters, what steps would you recommend that the league take? For example, members could call their alderman, or they could write their alderman. The league members could send written comments to the appropriate committees from which that initiative came, or all the members could call their all of the aldermen. What kind of help would you like from us?
I think anytime that people like email in, their support or lack thereof regarding certain legislation is always helpful. We can always submit that or read that off at a committee or a council meeting, just showing the support of different organizations. Obviously, the League of Women Voters is a very influential group, and I think that name speaks for itself. And I think people understand the power of women's votes and women's voice. I think now more than ever, women have really taken the helm of being able to showcase their ability to be influential, especially in politics. So anytime we could get feedback from groups or residents, especially if it's in an email fashion, we were able to bring it down and to City Hall and share that with our colleagues, and that tends to be very helpful.
Mhm. So you think that email would be probably the best idea?
I'm just saying it's an option. I mean, there's different
Yeah.
ways. I guess it depends upon what we're talking about, but that has seemed to work for me, and I think it's the most time effective.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's very true. People don't write letters. All right. So what are several things you would like to get done, or at least get started, during the remainder of your term, which ends next year? And perhaps if you are reelected, what you would like to do following the 2023 election?
Well, as I said earlier, I think all aldermen, including our mayor, are most concerned about public safety. I think whatever we can do to help increase public safety, to increase knowledge, to increase awareness, I think is our time is best served in that direction. Understanding that there is a severe shortage of police officers on our force, I think that adds an additional challenge to the problem. I think with that being the case, I think many of our police districts are not going to be able to meet the needs of manpower. And I think aldermen are now forced to look outside the box as far as how can we help ensure the safety of our residents. And one of them is the utilization of technology. And in my ward last year, we invested over $125,000 with the help of Commissioner Gardiner. We installed 6 cameras throughout our ward at different areas, mostly busy intersections, that has a direct hookup to the 911 dispatch center, and it allows these cameras allow for what's called like an LPR. It stands for license plate reader. It can zoom in on the license plates of certain cars. And that tool has been instrumental in not only deterring crime, but helping to solve crime. For example, one of the murders that occurred in the 45th Ward at Central and Lawrence in December of 2020 was solved due to those cameras that we installed in the area, with the individual who was eventually found guilty of this murder. We were able to track down due to those cameras strategically placed throughout our ward. So if it can't be more bodies, meaning police officers in our neighborhoods, which seems to be a continuing concern and problem, I would like to subsidize that with more of these cameras that do an excellent job of surveying the area, an excellent job of identifying people's cars by their license plates, and helping our limited police force solve some of these more violent crimes. So one thing that I would like to do is continue to put up more of those cameras throughout our community, because I think it helps safeguard our residents against the possibility of future crime.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good to know that we have some successes. Is there anything else you would like to add to our discussion this morning?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for the invite. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your candor, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to answer some of your questions. I hope that some of my answers have been insightful. I hope that you were able to take some positivity from it. Although, you know, I am very steadfast and focused on the ways that we can improve our city. I think we are moving in the right direction. I may not always agree with the mayor on every decision that she makes, but I can respect the position regardless of who's in that position. I think it's a tremendous task to take on. I think the challenges are never ending. So I can appreciate anybody not only willing to run for that office, but actually hold that office. Again, we may not always agree on every decision that is made, but I can respect the position and I can respect the challenges that come forth with that position.
Well, thank you. That was very optimistic. Thank you for being with us today. And I would like to remind everybody watching that if you are a League of Women Voters member, you will get the information on the League website. If you registered for today's viewing and you are not a League member, you will get the link to this mailed to you in a few days. And that is the same thing for you, Alderman. In a few days, this will be available, maybe not that long, so that you can go to the link. Next week.
Sounds good.
Yeah, good. The next interview will be next week on June 16th with Deborah Silverstein of the 50th Ward. I want to thank all of you for watching and thank you, Alderman, for participating in this program.